Where's the money that you raise going, Steve? Now,
Okay,
now
so
you
let's
take
go.
the
Let's
floor.
go back to that. So, in Broward County, we are from our last event that we had we had Byron Donalds down at the racetrack down in Hallandale, and it was funny because he said the last time he came to Broward there was 8 people, and this time we had 450 people. So what we're doing now, we took $30,000 of the money that came in on our last fundraiser down in Hallandale. And we're using that to send out emails, to go on social media, to go in every house that has one Republican and one Democrat. And it's hard to believe that there's so many families that have, a Democratic husband and a Republican wife, and reverse that, and kids that are Democrats. So we're sending out emails, going on social media, trying to switch that. And we're running about 1 or 2% more, I believe, on Republicans signing up in Broward County.
Welcome to the On Par podcast from the Winners Award Group showroom here in Coconut Creek. I've got YouTube legend Steve Stern back on with me. Welcome back, Steve.
Well, thanks a lot for having me today, and we're glad to be up here. We have another guest here too.
I was just gonna say, and Ishmael Kabessa is back as well. So
hello, everybody.
It's been
Glad
a year.
To be back. Yep.
I had a really nice time. I didn't get to participate as a golfer, but I did get to go to lunch at your golf tournament last year. Had an absolute blast. I thought Kevin Sorbo was an amazing speaker, so I'm looking forward to whoever you're having this year. Kevin was actually talking about how he broke away from Hollywood because he wanted to make movies that had a God influence in them, and nobody wanted to give him money and support him to do that. And I thought that story was really powerful, especially since we just got done promoting the Man Up Men's Conference and their golf tournament, which is in December, and they run an annual men's conference for teaching men to be better men. So it is faith-based, but it's more like a day and a half of motivational speeches. So they're, of course, big supporters of you guys as well. And, I know that your main thing when you're talking on YouTube and what you're famous for is election security. So I presume that most of the money goes towards people in politics that are focused on election security.
So yesterday we had our election security call. We just got the numbers this morning. Close to 7 million people are on there. We had about 14 speakers. We had Jerome Corsi on there, Dr. Jerome Corsi, who was talking about the executive order that President Trump's going to do for election security. So the Broward Republican Executive Committee, who hosts this thing, this will be our our third annual golf tournament, and we've raised the hole-in-one price to $25,000. So I'm going to talk a little bit about election security, but Ishmael's going to talk a little bit here about our great tournament that we're going to have. So Ishmael, why don't you tell everybody about it and how they can get involved?
Okay. Well, we had a fantastic tournament last year. Basically, it was sold out. We had 60 golfers this year. Hopefully we'll get 80. I think it was 60, right, Steve?
Yep, it was 60.
Yeah.
The year before it was 40, so you can see
Right.
each year it adds up.
Absolutely. So it's not only a golf tournament, it's also a luncheon. So basically, while all the golfers are out there playing, our lunch basically picks up where the golfers finish. So we have a total of a couple of hundred. The venue holds a couple of hundred individuals. I mean, you couldn't find a better venue than Trump International Golf Club in West Palm Beach. So we are very, very fortunate to be able to keep coming back to that venue. Mondays is typically closed, so our tournaments are on Mondays. This year it's March the 2nd, and so I expect it to be just as great an event as we've had before.
Do you know how much you raised last year? What was the final tally?
Yeah, we rose close to about 75,000 last year.
75,000. Okay.
So, and Trump International is rather expensive. We understand all that. And also, you said Kevin Sorbo spoke, but Sam Sorbo spoke also, and she's working on saving children and education, which is very important. So the first thing is we start about 9 o'clock on the golf. It lasts till about 1. And while they're having the golf tournament, we're having an election security call, and we show a lot of the golf course on there so people around the country can see what's going on. So this year, it's going to be March the 2nd. If people want to get involved, they can email me at sstern, that's SSTERN 1054 @gmail.com, or they can give me a call at either one of my numbers at 954-980-0041 or 954-562-5225. We don't have the speakers yet, but we're trying to get some of the important people from the state of Florida to speak. Hopefully maybe the governor will speak. He's been kind of like silent lately. But we're going to have some great golfers. Last year, Kevin played, but also Maureen Bannon, and we had a famous golfer there, and one of the sons of one of the South African famous golfer. You remember who that was?
I remember meeting him. Yep.
So he was really nice.
That was Gary Player's
son. And he also gave us some really nice stuff that we gave out to some of the people that came that always support us. And the nice thing is we take the money and use it both for candidates and also letting people know in Broward County how they can turn from the independents or Democrats to Republicans. So, of course, this is a Republican event. I'm the vice chair of Broward County Republican Executive Committee. We work very hard on this thing. It takes us 3 months to do this, and we're lucky that we're here because Drew gives us a hand on getting additional people, which is difficult to get a lot of times because, number one, it's not an inexpensive tournament. It runs $1,450. Trump International, great course. You get breakfast, you get lunch, you get to hear our speakers. So it's pretty much an all-day event. Check-in is around 7:30 and lasts all the way till about 3:30. Last year we had a wine tasting event at the end. So there's a lot of different things that go on, and you meet a lot of important people. That's the most important thing, you know.
Well, and even the people that hate Trump and think he's the devil still admit if they play golf that the courses that have his name on them, it looked like they cut the grass with toenail scissors. Every single blade was in place. You couldn't find a weed there. If you tried really hard, you couldn't find a weed there. And if you did, they'd probably have like a little team come by, fix the weed, and make it look like it never was there. It's almost like playing a Disney golf course when you go up there to Orlando.
Yeah, and the signature hole, which is number 17, it's a waterfall greens there. Absolutely magnificent. And
the place is badass. Let's just call it
No
what it is.
question
I
about
mean,
it.
it is outstanding. It is a beautiful... I took more pictures there than probably 90% of other golf courses. And, you know, with what I do, we play in a lot of charity tournaments and support a lot of nonprofits through the podcast as well as winners award groups. So, you know, we're happy to be involved again. We're happy to be working on the awards and the signature gift with you guys.
And the awards that you guys produced for us last year, from Award Winners Group, we had these beautiful engraved tumblers that we gave out to all of the first, second, and third place winners, as well as the champion. I mean, that was fantastic. We also got a swag bag from you folks, which was basically a mini cooler, which was extremely popular. Everyone, we've been getting a lot of feedback saying that was a fantastic gift.
Mine travels with me often. It is, you know, they're leak proof and they look like a golf bag. You can't go wrong. I use it all the time until my wife borrows it for her trips, and then I lose it for a weekend here and there. But I like that cooler a lot.
Yeah.
So thank you. I appreciate that great feedback.
It was absolutely wonderful, and you guys did a fantastic job with the engraving and the pictures on the boxes and all that.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons why we're back.
Awesome. And how about on the course? Do you have any games or events, or is it just more of like, you know,
well, besides the
hole-in-one for 25,000.
Besides the hole-in-one, we have 3 par 3s in which we give out closest to the pin, basically. Closest to the pin on the other 2 par 3s, there are gifts that we give out to the players.
Mm-hmm. So if you hit it close, you're getting a really nice gift.
If you get it, hole-in-one versus closest to the pin.
Beautiful, beautiful. Hole-in-one would be great. $25,000, a lot of money. I've never knocked one in from the tee yet, so that would be, if you're gonna plan a time to get your first hole-in-one, that's the one. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, well, last year we had the amateur ladies golf people there, where you get to beat the pro, and then if you beat the pro, you win tickets and you get a prize. So there's donations to that. We're not sure 100% if we're going to do that again this year, but we'll have something like that where we give money to amateurs. And very important, you know, to bring new people into the golf business today, because it is expensive out there playing golf today. And as the economy gets a little weaker, we got to get new people to get in all the time. So let's go back to our election security.
Well, before you
Go
do
ahead,
that,
sure.
one more thing: the growth of golf since COVID shut the world down and the government mismanaged that as badly as they could. Golf skyrocketed. Right, more kids are playing, more women are playing, more men are playing, more people over the age of 65 are playing. I mean, every single demographic is playing golf.
And Kai Trump, okay, granddaughter to Donald Trump, she's making her debut in I think it's November the 14th. I'm not certain about that date, but it is going to be at the Pelican course.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's Annika Sorensen golf course.
Okay.
And so Caitlin Clark, who also is the famous basketball player, she is also going to be there.
Okay.
So Kai Trump is going to making her debut at the LPGA. So that would be a fantastic boost.
Yeah, and Caitlin Clark is an excellent golfer from what I hear as well. I mean, she's
Correct.
an athlete. She's one of the best players, if not the best player in the WNBA. And yes, she's actually getting known on social media for also loving the sport of golf
time,
too.
big
So
time.
I'm glad you brought that up. But okay, so now where's the money that you raise going, Steve? Now,
Okay,
now
so
you
let's
take
go.
the
Let's
floor.
go back to that. So in Broward County, we are from our last event that we had we had Byron Donalds down at the racetrack down in Hallandale, and it was funny because he said the last time he came to Broward there was 8 people, and this time we had 450 people. So he sees the growth of Broward County because all over the United States, and we had Seth Keschel, Captain Seth Keschel on as a big guy on election integrity, talking about how each state is improving on more Republicans and as Democrats and independents are switching to the Republican Party. Let's take Florida. A couple of years ago, they had over 100,000 more Democrats. Today, we have 1.2 million more Republicans. That's unbelievable. But Broward County is still the only blue county in the state. So what we're doing now, we took $30,000 of the money that came in on our last fundraiser down in Hallandale, and we're using that to send out emails, to go on social media, to go in every house that has one Republican and one Democrat. And it's hard to believe that there's so many families that have, a Democratic husband and a Republican wife, and reverse that, and kids that are Democrats and husband and wife are Republicans. So we're sending out emails, on going on social media, trying to switch that. And we're running about 1 or 2% more, I believe, on Republicans signing up in Broward County. So it's switching and turning all over the United States. It's just not Florida, but it's happening all over. And yesterday, we had one of the best election security calls that we have ever had. We actually did it for New Jersey, where it's one of the toughest races, the governor's race now, which is coming down to the wire, which is neck and neck. And there hasn't been a Republican there for a while now. And there are so many people working on it. So we had 2 of the election integrity people talking about that. We had one of the podcasters. So a lot of people ask us, well, how do we get all these people on our podcast? And what we did was about a year and a half ago. Well, we started this about 3 years ago when I was up with President Trump, and we did a precinct strategy podcast. Precinct strategy, if you go to www.precinctstrategy.com, that is the Republican Party, basically, how to join. So President Trump endorsed it. I was up in Mar-a-Lago talking to him about that, if he would talk about getting more people involved when he was on his campaign. And he said he would do that. And then he said to me, what do you think about the 2024 election? And I said, well, they're probably still going to steal it. And he said, well, you're probably right. So he asked me if I would do an election security call with the precinct strategy call. And I went back to him and said, well, Mr. President, I really don't know enough about election integrity to do that. He said, well, why don't you get the experts on? So I said, well, let me see what I could do. And about 5 weeks later, we started doing that. And we were having a Zoom with about 200 to 500 people. And then about a year and a half, I got on Steve Bannon in the morning, and what I did differently was I put my email on the bottom of the screen because I'm familiar with holding up these cards, old school, and I usually put my email up, but people would say, hey Steve, you put this up and then you take it down, we don't get to see your email. So we put this down on the bottom of the screen. We got about 1,000 people sign up, which was unbelievable because we were only getting like 20 or 30. And then he says, I'm going to do something for you, Steve. Hey, you're 84 at that time, and he said, "You're one of the hardest working guys I know." He says, "I'm going to put this on Getter and I'm going to put this on the War Room." Well, the next day, Maureen Bannon, who actually played in a tournament, and we had her as a guest, she said we got about 60,000 people on it. I said, "Wow, that's unbelievable." I said, "Look, I learned something. You know, every day you got to learn something in life, right?" So I learned that, hey, we got to get these podcasters, different people to help us. I spent about a month calling my friends, asking who the podcasters was. And it took hours and hours and hours of work to get all these people. So we have established 150 podcasters. Not all of them do it on that day. They do it later in the week sometimes. Sometimes they don't do it. We have X. We have Stern American Rumble. If you go to Stern American Rumble, you can see all our past ones that we had. And we've built this up to yesterday when we had it to close to 7 million people. And we're in probably 58 different countries. So one of the things was, and a lot of people say, hey, how did you get to all these countries? Well, we have podcasters that stream it on the radio and on their podcast to all these different countries. And a strange thing happened. I got a call a couple of months ago from General Flynn. He says, I got to come on your podcast. I said, well, what happened? He said, well, I was on an event that I actually invited you to. He did invite me to it, but I couldn't make it, in Washington, D.C., where they had people from all over the country come. And 4 people came up to him and said, hey, we hear about a podcast that gentleman Steve Stern does with Raj Diajavi on election integrity. And he was dumbfounded. He says, how the heck did you get this all out? I got to come on. Well, he came on, and we had close to 5-6 million people on it. We can never get an exact figure because we have people like yournews.com, totalnews.com that put it on for us, and they have no clue how many people come on because they don't have a way to record it. And then we have people that are on different areas where they can't get the numbers, such as some of the TV shows. We go on OBBM Network, we go on Cloud Hub, Facebook, everywhere. So we get what we do. We don't estimate higher. We just give the numbers that are there through Rumble. Rumble puts us on the first page. We want to thank them for that. So you could see how important this is. And actually, when Trump won the election, I got a text from Susie Wiles and many, many people, Wayne Root, Steve Bannon, saying, thanks for everything you did. And I said, well, what did we do? And they said, well, we're going to answer this by letting you know that you got 40 or 50,000 poll watchers and poll workers by being on these different programs and saying that. And you also educated the people on what to do in election integrity. Because like I said, I'm not an expert, but we brought the people on that were experts. And these people are experts, explain to people what to do in their local communities. Now, you can't do this unless you do it in your local community. So precinct strategy, election integrity tied together. We have areas like Cleta Mitchell, EIN is her organization. She comes on, talks about it. We have Jovan Pulitzer, who's a big guy. He gets 30,000 on his podcast every day. And many, many experts who found their way onto our program and explained to everybody what to do. Moms for America came on, Moms for Liberty, you name them, we found them, we got them on. And every time we get our election security code, we try to bring new people on. We had election integrity people on from New Jersey, which we never had before. We had them on from North Carolina, so we get them all from all over. So let me give you back to Ishmael.
Hold on. Let's put you guys to the test a little bit.
Go ahead.
Because I'm a skeptic when it comes to politicians. You know this
Sure.
about me. So what do you say to a guy like me that may agree with a lot of your values, and then I vote for politicians based on what they say, and then I feel like they're doing something evasive or opposite of what they tell me they're gonna do? And I mean, I could give a lot of examples, but I'll let you answer the question. So what do you say to me?
Okay, well, when you look at the core values of the Republican Party, we're all about faith, family, freedom, okay, and of course transparency. So at the grassroots level, what we try to do is to win the hearts and minds, especially in the NPA or the no party affiliated individuals. Okay, we say to them, okay, and many of them in Broward County are Latinos. Okay, so we say to them, Republican values are Latino values. So we talk about courage and honesty and integrity, okay, and commitment and duty and honor, and all of that. So we let them know that this is where we come from. That's where our hearts are in. are.
No, I know. I'm a family guy.
Right.
You know, we're Sicilian, right? My
Right.
grandfather is an immigrant from Sicily 100 years ago. And, you know, my family's important. We still do Sunday dinners, old school.
Mm-hmm.
But I still look at, you know, the politicians that I vote for, I don't feel like they're necessarily doing what they say they're going to be doing. Because I
Okay.
just want the government to leave me alone.
Absolutely, absolutely. We believe that the government that governs best governs least. So we want government to stay out of our pockets. Okay, we believe that it's not the government's money; it's the people's money. Okay, so therefore, when it comes to taxation, taxing less, lowering property taxes, giving seniors the right to keep their hard-earned money after so many years of work. Those are the values that we believe in. Okay.
No, but are those things actually happening?
And
like,
those
what is
things-
actually being done to prove what they're saying, I guess, is
Okay.
my question.
In Broward County,
Sure.
we're trying to make a major difference. Okay, and we talk about the future of, let's say, of the country of Broward County. So we believe that children are our future. So therefore, we put a lot of emphasis on school board elections, for example. Okay, because we need the transparency. We need to let the taxpayers know where the money is actually going to the kids, the education of the kids, not for these woke kinds of programs that you see a lot. Money's being spent on those kind of nonsense, in our opinion, issues. But as far as where the rubber meets the road, in other words, where you actually see making a difference, okay, is in the transparency side. Okay, the lowering of property, and we're working on reducing property taxes and reducing insurance, because those are two of the major issues in Broward County.
Okay.
Okay, so we understand what the issues are. We're actually trying to get people in office, conservative Republicans in office, who are fiscally conservative, okay,
Mhm.
who believe in the transparency, to give the people the knowledge that we're reducing their taxes and we're spending their money wisely. Okay, so right
Okay.
now, Broward is very blue. Okay, it's very much controlled by the Democrats, and so we're trying to reverse that.
Okay. And then when Congress gets together and does their uniparty thing and just prints tons and tons of money, and I look at it and go, okay, inflation's at an all-time high.
Well,
My dollar, if I
yeah.
buried $1 50 years ago, it would be worth 4 cents today.
Yeah, we
I
understand
look at
that.
stuff like that and I'm like,
Right.
okay, like I vote, but then I'm like,
Well,
they're still doing the same crap.
All politics is local. Okay.
Okay.
Where you're going to make the biggest difference is at the local level.
Okay.
So we focus on our communities, that which we can influence.
So when I see my property taxes lowered and my cost of insurance lowered, then I know that something's
Exactly.
being
And-
done for
and
me.
that's where we're headed. Our governor has said, okay, that he wants to eliminate property taxes. Now, if you can believe that.
Okay.
Okay, what I heard last night, that in Broward County, $14 million is what constitutes our homestead
Yeah, I mean,
insurance.
look, we're getting taxed
And we
when we
have
buy the
enough-
house. We're getting taxed every
And
year
we
on the
have
house.
we have enough tourism coming in that we should be able, at least as a minimum, cut the property taxes in half.
Okay.
We should be able to, cut it by $8 million, and the other $8 million, if you want to get rid of it completely, can come from Tallahassee.
Yeah, and even on a higher level, I'd say all the time on this podcast and my other one podcast, Twins with Vince, is all I want is food that's clean,
Right,
water that's clean, and
exactly.
air that's clean.
Absolutely.
Why can't Congress at least or why can't
Right.
local politicians? Our water is. I'm in Davie, and we get Sunrise water where I am, and it is absolutely atrocious.
Yes.
So, like at a local level, Broward County, give me clean water, and I'm happy.
And that's why we're working with the Soil and Water Conservation District folks. We've got 2 Republicans in there right now by the name of Celeste Elledge and Bob Sutton.
Okay.
They're making a difference.
So why don't Democrats want clean water? Because
I
we
don't
all
think
have
it's-
kids, whether you
yeah.
have a D or an R, an I or a nothing next to your name.
Right.
We all want clean water. Like if the government's working for us, where's my clean water?
It's just that they're not very good at solving problems. The Democrats are not very good. They're great at creating problems, but the Republicans always come behind and fix it. Okay, we always have to come behind and fix it, because actually look what Trump is doing. Okay, just with immigration. You know, in our opinion, most Democrats would kick the can down the road, and Trump picks up that can and crushes it, right? And says, let's move on.
I hear what you're saying, but the water, I mean, I'm 44 next week, and the water's been a problem my entire life, no matter who's in office.
Well, I mean, that's where you got to ask the question, where does the water come from? You know, the aquifers, how are we maintaining the Everglades and the aquifers?
We're not, obviously.
Well, yeah, but we need to focus on that, so we need to change in the politics of the county in order to make those major changes that are needed. We just established a club, the West Broward Republican Club. Okay, the number one goal of all the clubs, okay, is to get more conservative Republicans elected. Okay, that's their primary mission. Beyond that, then they have their own individual flavor. Now, in the case of West Broward, we're focusing on the Everglades. We're focusing on candidates and politicians who are into the quality side, into the preservation of good, you know, quality soil and water. So we are trying to make a difference at the grassroots level, okay, but we're focusing locally. Okay.
So how would someone get involved in, I don't know, lobbying for that, for example, or advocating? Because I know lobbyists get paid and advocates don't.
Let me tell you,
I learned that from your friend
before I
Debbie.
answer that question, let me just tell you that we are trying to make Broward inclusive. We have a lot of different ethnic people there.
Mm-hmm.
So we're opening up a Romanian club, an Argentinian club. We had a Black Republican club. You know that we have never invited the blacks into the Republican club, and that's an area where Trump went from maybe 23% up to 37% of the black community. So they're poorer, a lot of them, and we're trying to help them also. So we have a lot of clubs that are trying to get people to run for office, because a lot of people don't want to run to office. You may not want to run for office because you're afraid your family may get, you know, things come out and attacking you. If you notice that, that's one of the big problems in what's going on. But even in Broward County, we have more Republicans that were elected this year than ever before. So what was your question again, so I can answer that question?
Where's my clean water?
Okay,
That's
so
I would just want clean water. Let's start with clean water. I would like clean food that's not poisoned or lab grown.
So
I want clean air.
So here's the thing, you almost answered your own question. Have you gone to the Sunrise Board?
No.
Okay, so the first thing you want to do is go to Sunrise, because I get Sunrise water in Weston also, and I don't use it. I use bottled water.
And that's got plastic in it, so it's not perfect either.
And I use filtered water. But the first thing you do is you get to a board meeting and you say in a board meeting that they have, Mr. Mayor, this water sucks, and you bring a jar of water that you've
taken from
tested,
your sink.
Yeah, and you've tested and say, would you drink this? And he's going to probably say no. So you're going to say, well, why can't you clean the water? So you answered your question, because I get on TV a lot and I said, please get involved. You know, Ishmael and I can't do everything. We need people to get involved, and that's how you get involved. First thing you do is you get involved because you know that the water's there, so you yourself have to spend a little time getting involved. So we ask everybody, hey, give us an hour a month. Give us an hour a week, whatever you can afford. You're a busy guy, you're working, you're supporting a family. But a lot of people
My kids drinking water and the water they shower with is important, though. Right. It's worth my time.
But a lot of people go home, they watch TV, they forget the TV. You know what I'm saying? Go and spend an hour at your local community. We had all these women, Moms of America, went to all the school boards. Do you remember when this woke stuff was being caught in school? And what happened is the school books were ridiculous of what people were learning. And nobody ever did anything about it until Moms of America, Moms for Liberty, all these people started going to these areas, because years ago, when you probably went to school, your mom said to you, what'd you get? You got an A, B, C? She didn't say, what are you learning? Let me see these books, what you learned. So we have to open up everybody's eyes, and that's why podcasters like yours and podcasters through the country are very important, because if I get on Fox, I can't say the machines were crooked or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But if I get on your podcast, I can say what I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's important. So I would say get involved. Spend an hour a week. Give us an hour a week. Join a club. Join, whether you're in Broward County or wherever you're listening to this, anywhere in Florida, anywhere in the country, get involved. And we find more people getting involved because as the Democrats close the country, and what's happening now, as you see, when they don't keep the government open, this is even a worse thing that's happening because people aren't getting paid. So when they're not getting paid, the economy starts to fall apart. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, Elon Musk shone a bright spotlight on all the roaches, is how I put it. And they made a few of the changes, but then there were lawsuits on the other 160 changes. And, I look at it and go, that's frustrating to me because and both sides are guilty, right? Like some Republicans are guilty of money laundering and embezzling to all these fake programs like, sending vasectomies to Haiti or whatever the other stuff you hear about on social media and the news. I mean, that's not a secret anymore, right? There's no way that money ever made it to where it was going to without going through filtering of
middlemen.
100%, and maybe they got 10% of it. And I mean, who's gonna vote for? I don't care I don't care what your party affiliation. Nobody's voting for their tax dollars while we have our own problems here to go to crazy programs that nobody understands in foreign countries where we may never visit in our lifetimes.
Right. Well, that's where, USAID was the slush fund. Okay, that's where all of that money laundering that you were talking about, okay, where, there was no accountability whatsoever for the monies that were going out.
Mm-hmm.
The money was going out of the country and they were coming back, surreptitiously.
Yeah, it was the same when all the money went to Ukraine, and recently
exactly.
now more money to Israel, like a bunch
and
of
that's
times.
why Elon Musk and they doged USAID, and that's where they came up with all of these billions and billions and billions of tax dollars, that there was zero accountability. They never knew, they could not tell you where the money went.
Yeah, and now we don't hear anything about it anymore. It disappeared off of the feeds.
And you made a great point because, there are a lot of lawsuits that come in. No, you can't do that to us. It's affecting so much that you can't take that money away. I mean, it's already been authorized, let's say. Mm-hmm. It's already been authorized, so it needs to be spent. Right, so that's a big problem.
Give it back to the taxpayers.
Exactly, give it back to the taxpayer. Like I said at the beginning, it's not the government's money. It's the taxpayers' money.
So is that actually going to happen at some point?
And that's happening. We have been doging Broward County.
Okay, let's hear about that.
Tallahassee has come into Broward County, and they've been doing audits of accountability of all of the monies that's going in, and they have found millions and millions of dollars that they're able to pull back. So there is a Doge program in Broward County that the governor is pushing forward through the CFO.
And is that going to be met with a bunch of lawsuits as well, or are they going to actually be able to make a difference?
It remains to be seen. It remains to be seen, but at least there's a visibility that's being given to, or transparency of how the monies are being spent, because they are misspent.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's not and I appreciate that. Yeah. That's not in dispute. Go ahead, Steve.
Well, so I was going to say, I don't know if you heard this last night, and I'm not sure if it's exact numbers, but I thought I heard that the FBI was cut in half yesterday because there was so many agents that were crooked. So, and, with all this stuff coming out where the FBI went after all the Republicans and some of the congressmen and stuff like that. So a lot of this stuff is being seen and opened up. Oh, it's only been 9 months. Was it 9 months that President Trump's been in there, and so much has happened. That man, and I've been in a couple of conferences with him. I wish I was more because he is so smart and remembers so much stuff. It's unbelievable. Now, unfortunately, there are some people that he hires that went against him in the first term. And they try to weed that out, but we're still finding people that go against him, even in his second term. So it's a very difficult thing because government is a very tough entity to control because there's so many people. I mean, I'm not even sure how many people are in the U.S. government, but it's millions, right? So how do you control everybody, and how do you, stop them from leaking and doing all the stuff? So let's get back to our Trump International. Because we want to end this, we could be here all day.
I appreciate you guys having an open dialogue with me.
So,
I'm looking to learn.
Sure. Well, we need to get people involved because a lot of people vote and they don't know who they're voting for. They ask their friends, their relatives who to vote for because they don't investigate the candidates. And that's something that we try to do. They have, Ishmael works with this, we're having candidates vetted to see what they think about in one of his organizations, which is very important. And we know a lot of people that we give out cards for who to vote for, but I would rather see the person say, like, we vote for judges. Most of the people have no clue who the judges are. So it's very important for people to find out who these people are because, you know, just what you said, people get on TV and say, I'm going to do this when I get in office, I'm going to do this when I get in office, and I'm going to get in office. They do the opposite. So they're going to say what they need to win. So again, our Trump Invitational will end this here with a few minutes. We'll give Ishmael a chance to tell all about this event, so you get a lot of chance to talk and bring out a couple of things.
Okay, one thing that we want to do this year is we want to increase the number of women golfers. Okay, we do have them. We can have as many as 80. Okay, golfers. Last year we're at 60, so we do have room for bringing women in and having, having awards for the women as well. Okay, that was one of the criticisms that we got last year. You know, what about the women? We had a bunch of women golfers, but then we said, yeah, we hear you. We recognize the fact that we need to improve. And that's what we do. Every year we try to do better. We try to improve. We try to, take all of those lessons learned, okay, and implement them. So I think we're doing a fairly decent job with running the tournament, but there's always much that we can learn.
Yeah.
So right now, all we're trying to do is get the word out. Now we do publish a program guide.
Okay.
Okay, the program guide, basically it's an advertising piece. Not only does it, focus on the agenda for the tournament and the luncheon, but we also give candidates an opportunity to, advertise a little bit in that. Now, the golf course itself has been very gracious in allowing us to put up tee box signs. Okay, so we sell tee box signs to various companies and candidates, and we also have golf flags. We also put on all 18 holes. We have a hole-in-one sponsor. Okay, so we try to do the best to try to capture and maximize the use of that course.
Yeah, it's an amazing course. You have to do it justice. Yeah. You have to do it better each year, just like anything we do in life. Yes. So I totally appreciate that. Yeah. So we'll put the website and the link to register and sponsor when we send the podcast out. You can email Steve. He gave you the email address earlier. It's sstern1054@gmail.com. And if anybody who's listening would like to sponsor a hole or actually sponsor a table or join us, please let us know. I mean, you'll see our email, you'll see our phone number.
And all of you Broward County registered voters out there, please join a club. We've got clubs all over the county. We've got 15 clubs, all four corners of Broward County and all of Central Florida, Central Broward. We have got clubs that you can join and participate in our grassroots efforts. We have an initiative, the America 250, which is basically between now and 4th of July of 2026, we're getting the word out. We're putting out flags. There's going to be flags all over. Thousands and thousands of flags are going to be put out there, letting them know the importance of this celebration.
And if you're like me and you just want clean water to start, I'm going to go to the city of Sunrise and fight with the mayor, so come on down. Let's go. But come on with me.
There's one more element. There's one more thing that we're focusing on, and that is what they call special districts. Okay? With special districts is where the rubber meets the road as far as soil and water.
Okay.
So we're making a huge push to get more of our conservative folks into these special districts throughout Broward County.
Yeah, I mean, forget about fighting the macro stuff. Let's look at the stuff that affects us all day, every day, and affects our wives and kids and aunts and uncles and cousins. So thank you guys for coming back on. It's a pleasure having you. I appreciate the back and forth. It's been fun. Check out the golf tournament. We'll have the link below. And catch us next week on the On Par podcast.
Thanks a lot.